In 1977, millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck by the United States Mint in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint has its own unique identifying letter: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and traditionally, none for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting. The Philadelphia Mint did start adding a P mint mark to dimes beginning in 1980. That means before then, Philadelphia dimes didn't have a mint mark at all. So at first glance, a 1977 dime with no mint mark doesn't sound strange. But wait, this story isn't about the ordinary Philadelphia dimes. The 1977 no mint mark dime that's worth nearly $1 million was never supposed to exist. It wasn't struck in Philadelphia. It was struck in San Francisco, where every dime should have an S mint mark, because those coins were proof coins made specifically for collectors. Somehow, a few coins escaped the minting process without that S. They were released into circulation by mistake. Imagine that for a second. Somewhere in 1977, someone spent a proof coin, meant for collectors, on a soda, a bus ride, or maybe a pack of gum. That dime disappeared into circulation, looking almost identical to every other dime in your change jar. Decades later, collectors realized what they were holding wasn't ordinary at all. It was a ghost coin, a minting error so rare that only a few examples are known to exist. And that's where the magic begins. When the first of these 1977 no mint mark proof dimes surfaced, it caused a sensation in the numismatic world. Collectors went into a frenzy, scouring their coin collections, estate sales, and old jars of change, hoping to uncover one of these elusive coins. The rarity was off the charts. Proof coins missing mint marks are virtually unheard of. Only a handful have ever been confirmed. The value skyrocketed. In a major auction, one pristine example of the 1977 no mint mark Roosevelt dime sold for an astounding $456,000. And since then, its estimated market value has only risen, now reaching as high as $855,000. Just imagine, $855,000 for a 10-cent coin. That's an increase in value of over 8.5 million%. Pause for a moment and think about that. You could be holding the equivalent of a small fortune right now and not even know it. Here's what makes this coin so fascinating. It's not flashy. It doesn't gleam like gold, and it doesn't have a dramatic design. It's subtle, quiet, and easy to overlook. The difference between an ordinary dime and this rare treasure is smaller than the width of a fingernail. That's the power of knowledge. That's the power of paying attention. But why are collectors willing to pay such outrageous sums for something so small? It comes down to a perfect storm of rarity, history, and human curiosity. Minting errors, especially on proof coins, are anomalies, like lightning striking twice in the same spot. They're not supposed to happen, and when they do, they become instant legends. Each coin tells a story of imperfection, of something slipping through the cracks of a perfectly engineered system. That's what gives it soul. Now you might be wondering, could I have one of these coins sitting in my collection right now? That's the million-dollar question. If you've ever inherited an old coin collection, kept a jar of coins from your grandparents, or even just held on to your pocket change from the 1970s or 1980s, you owe it to yourself to look. Check your 1977 dimes, especially any that appear shiny, mirror-like, and flawless, almost as if they were never meant to be spent. Proof coins have that distinctive mirror finish, with frosted designs and mirror-like backgrounds. And here's the key. If it's a 1977 dime that looks proof-like and has no S mint mark, don't spend it. Don't even touch it too much. You might be holding one of the rarest coins in modern American history. But there's a twist. You see, the coin market has its highs and lows, just like real estate or the stock market. Prices fluctuate depending on demand, condition, and timing. Right now, we're in an exciting era for rare coins. Collectors, investors, and even hedge funds are quietly pouring money into rare numismatics. They see these coins not just as collectibles, but as tangible assets, small, portable pieces of American history that can outperform traditional investments. And that brings us to something most people overlook. Coins like the 1977 no mint mark dime aren't just about luck. They're about awareness. You can't find something if you don't know what you're looking for. There's an old saying among coin collectors: the rarest coins are the ones hiding in plain sight. Maybe right now, as you listen to this, there's a jar of coins in your kitchen cabinet or a box of change sitting in your attic. Maybe you've been planning to cash them in at a Coinstar machine. Stop, don't do that yet. Take the time to go through them carefully, one by one. You might not find the 1977 dime, but you might find something almost as rare. There are other coins out there with equally shocking stories. The 1943 copper penny worth over $1 million. The 1969 double-die penny valued at $126,000. Even a 1999 penny with a wide AM reverse can sell for thousands. But none of them quite capture the imagination like that 1977 dime, because it represents the possibility that even the smallest, most ordinary thing can hold extraordinary value. Here's something you should remember. Every rare coin discovery that made headlines started with someone who almost didn't look. Maybe they were about to toss the coin in a tip jar. Maybe they almost used it in a vending machine. But something stopped them, a hunch, a flash of curiosity, a gut feeling. And that moment of hesitation was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The truth is, we all dream of finding that one big win. But what most people miss is that opportunities like this often don't announce themselves. They whisper. They hide in everyday places. That's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about money. It's about awareness, patience, and the belief that your life can change from something as small as a dime. So how do you know if your coin might be valuable? Here's a quick breakdown. First, examine your 1977 dime closely under good lighting. If it looks shiny, mirror-like, and has a sharp, crisp design, it could be a proof coin. Next, check just above the date, between the torch and the rim, for a small letter. If you see an S, it's a normal San Francisco proof coin. But if there's no mint mark at all and the coin still looks proof-like, that's when things get exciting. If you think you found something unusual, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value instantly. Instead, place it in a soft holder or envelope and take it to a professional coin dealer. Or send it for grading through a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate it and tell you exactly what it's worth. And here's a bit of humor for you, because this part always makes people laugh nervously. Imagine finding a dime worth $855,000 and then realizing you used one just like it last week to pay for parking. That's the kind of regret you never forget. So yes, check your pockets. Seriously, you'll thank yourself later. Now, let's talk about why these coins have surged so much in value recently. Over the last decade, the demand for tangible assets, especially collectibles, has exploded. People are looking for real, physical stores of value in an uncertain world. Gold, silver, fine art, and yes, rare coins have become safe havens. The 1977 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime stands at the intersection of rarity, history, and beauty, making it one of the most sought-after modern coins on the planet. Collectors see it as a symbol of perfection, born from imperfection. Investors see it as a hedge against inflation. And for ordinary people like you and me, it represents possibility. What if the key to your next chapter isn't locked away in a vault or a stock portfolio, but sitting right there, jingling in your pocket? That's why so many Americans, people just like you, between 30 and 65, are rediscovering the world of coin collecting, not as a hobby, but as a lifestyle. It's the lifestyle of awareness, of wealth through wisdom, of recognizing that fortune often hides where few people bother to look. If you've ever dreamed of financial freedom, if you've ever wanted to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, this is your wake-up call. Don't wait for someone else to make the discovery you could have made today. Because every day that passes, another rare coin disappears into a vault. Another collector claims their prize, and another opportunity quietly fades away. The 1977 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value. It's proof that paying attention can change your life. So after this video ends, take action. Go through your coins. Look for the details. Share this story with someone you care about, because who knows? Maybe they're holding one of these rare treasures and don't even know it. And remember this, wealth doesn't always start with millions in the bank. Sometimes it starts with a dime, Because the next rare coin discovery, the next $855,000 miracle, could be sitting right in your hand, waiting for you to notice. So go ahead. Check your change. You might just be holding your future. Before we dive deep, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your change? Not for quarters or pennies, but really looked at what's hiding there? Sometimes life's biggest fortunes don't come from the stock market, real estate, or lottery tickets. Sometimes they're jingling quietly in your pocket. The story of the 1984 Roosevelt dime begins not with glamour, but with a factory floor at the Philadelphia Mint. It was a year of massive coin production, billions of dimes rolling off the presses, indistinguishable from one another. Or so it seemed. The 1984 P. Roosevelt dime is ordinary on the surface. A simple blend of copper and nickel, 10 cents in value, bearing the face of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a symbol of hope and resilience. But then, there were the errors. And those errors, rare, beautiful, unpredictable, are what transformed a few small pieces of metal into priceless treasures. Imagine this: a slight misalignment in the die, a double strike, or a minting anomaly so subtle it escaped the eyes of quality inspectors. These imperfections are what make collectors' hearts race and wallets open wide. You might wonder, how does a dime become worth almost $900,000? It's not about what it cost to make, but what it represents. Rarity, condition, historical value, and collector demand combine like alchemy. Each element adds a layer of mystery and desire. Picture this. Somewhere in a quiet suburb, a man named Robert sits at his kitchen table, flipping through an old coin album he inherited from his father. Between the worn Lincoln cents and a few tarnished nickels, he finds a 1984 Roosevelt dime. He almost skips past it, until he notices that tiny P. He looks closer, compares it to pictures online, and suddenly his hands start shaking. It's a near-perfect mint error, one of only a handful ever documented. Months later, it's appraised and auctioned off for hundreds of thousands of dollars. One small moment changed his life forever. But here's the question that keeps coin collectors awake at night. Could there be more of these out there? Hidden in boxes, forgotten in drawers, waiting in a dusty piggy bank? That's the thrill and the fear. The fear of letting go of something priceless without ever knowing it. Now let's pause for a moment. When you think about your own coins, maybe you're tempted to brush them off. After all, they're just old change, right? But what if that junk drawer in your kitchen is actually your retirement plan in disguise? What if that old coffee can full of dimes could pay for your dream home, your grandkids' college, or that road trip you've been putting off for years? Here's a fun fact to reset your brain a bit. Did you know that more people have found valuable coins by accident than by deliberate hunting? Imagine buying a soda, getting your change, and walking away with a fortune in your palm. It's almost comical. Who knew the most profitable investment of your life could cost you less than $1? Let's dive into what makes the 1984 P. Roosevelt dime so extraordinary. There are several key things collectors look for: the mint mark, strike quality, and overall condition. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which began adding mint marks to dimes starting in 1980. But what makes this particular year special are the rare variants, especially those with double dies or striking errors. Experts estimate that only a handful of flawless examples remain in circulation or private collections. One such specimen, graded at the highest possible mint state, was appraised at a staggering $849,000. And here's the kicker. It started life as an ordinary dime. That's the magic of numismatics, the transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary. But how can you tell if your dime is one of the lucky few? Start by looking at the details. Check for sharpness in the lettering, a clean and bright surface with no signs of wear, and a distinct P mint mark. Then look for any strange doubling in the numbers, especially in the 1984 date. Even the faintest irregularity can multiply its value exponentially. Many people don't realize how small mistakes in minting can lead to enormous profits. Think of it this way. In the world of collectibles, perfection is predictable. But rarity? That's the wild card that changes everything. And the 1984 P dime is the ultimate wild card. Now let's shift gears for a moment. Maybe you're thinking, all right, I get it. These coins are valuable, but how do I cash in? Great question. The truth is, knowing what you have is the first step to wealth. The second is knowing where to sell. Reputable coin dealers, certified auction houses, and grading services like PCGS or NGC are your best allies. But be careful. There are scammers who prey on beginners. Always verify credentials before you hand over anything, and here's where the emotional part comes in. You might be holding on to coins that belong to a parent or grandparent. They're more than metal, they're memories, history, legacy. Selling them isn't just a transaction, it's an emotional journey. But when you understand their true worth, you're honoring that legacy by giving it the value it deserves. Let me tell you a story that might just inspire you. A woman in Oregon discovered a jar of coins her late husband had collected. She was ready to donate them, thinking they were worth maybe $50 in total. But she decided to have them appraised first, just in case. Among them, a 1984 Roosevelt dime in mint state. That little coin sold at auction for over $800,000. That one decision changed her financial future forever. If that doesn't make you want to check your old coin stash right now, I don't know what will. But before you rush off, let's talk strategy. Not all dimes are created equal. The condition of your coin, what collectors call grade, can make or break its value. A circulated coin might fetch a few dollars, but an uncirculated, flawless specimen can soar into 6 or 7 figures. That's why preservation matters. Handle your coins with care, avoid touching them directly, and store them in protective holders. Think of it as guarding your hidden fortune. Here's something most people overlook: timing. The coin market, much like real estate or stocks, moves in cycles. When the demand for rare U.S. coins spikes, prices can skyrocket overnight. Right now, the numismatic world is experiencing one of those golden windows. Collectors are paying record prices for high-quality specimens, and the 1984 Roosevelt dime is one of the hottest items on the list. So ask yourself, will you be the one who seizes the opportunity or the one who looks back with regret? The clock is ticking, and every day more of these coins vanish into private collections, never to reappear. Let's inject a quick pattern interrupt here. Imagine explaining to your friends that your millionaire status came from a 10-cent coin. Yeah, I didn't invest in crypto or stocks. I just checked my pocket change. You can almost hear the stunned silence. It sounds funny, but it's real. Wealth doesn't always announce itself with flashing lights. It whispers in small silver circles. And if you're wondering what separates the dreamers from the doers, it's simple: action. The people who find life-changing coins are the ones who look. They take out their magnifying glass, they examine every detail, and they do their homework. Success leaves clues, literally etched into metal. Now let's circle back to that emotional spark we started with, the idea that your fortune might already be in your hands. Think about what financial freedom would mean to you. No more debt, no more waiting for someday. Maybe it's helping your family, retiring early, or traveling the world. All from a single coin most people would overlook. This is your wake-up call. The next time you see a 1984 dime with a P mint mark, don't dismiss it. Examine it. Research it. Value it. Because behind that small, unassuming coin could lie your ticket to a new chapter of abundance. And here's the final twist: the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. Experts believe there are still undiscovered 1984 Roosevelt dimes with rare errors circulating in the United States. That means that even now as you watch this, someone might be holding one unknowingly. Maybe it's sitting in your purse. Maybe it's resting in a jar on your dresser, or maybe it's still waiting to be found in your next handful of change. So here's the challenge. After this video, go search. Go through your old jars, your drawers, your boxes. Check every dime, because one of them could be the one that changes your life forever. And if you find it, remember, you heard it here first. A dime worth a fortune, a story worth telling, and a future worth chasing. Because sometimes wealth doesn't come from finding new opportunities. It comes from finally seeing the value in what's been there all along. It's a story of rarity, discovery, and the incredible power of attention to detail. Because in the world of rare coins, every scratch, mint mark, and microscopic imperfection can mean the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this small piece of metal has collectors and investors fighting to own it, and how you can find out if you're sitting on a small fortune yourself. But before we go deeper, let's pause for a second. Think about this. How many times have you handled dimes without even looking at them? Hundreds? Thousands? What if you already had one of these hidden treasures pass right through your fingers? That tiny realization, that mix of excitement and regret, is exactly what drives treasure hunters and collectors alike. Back in 1989, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes. On the surface, they looked like every other dime ever made. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's dignified profile on one side, the torch and olive branch on the other. Nothing special, right? But here's where the plot twists. Among these countless dimes, a very small number were struck with errors so rare that they became numismatic gold. Some had double die obverse errors, meaning the design was struck twice, slightly offset, creating ghostly outlines of Roosevelt's features. Others had weak or missing mint marks, plancher flaws, or even mirrored proof-like surfaces where they shouldn't exist. It's these tiny, almost invisible mistakes that have turned some 1989 P dimes into priceless collectibles. One such coin surfaced at auction in pristine condition, graded by experts at a near-perfect mint state 68. It sold for a staggering $841,000. Think about that. A 10-cent coin that could literally change your life overnight. Now, you might be wondering, how does a coin like that even survive for decades without being spent or damaged? That's the beauty of numismatics. Some coins slip into collections early, stored by chance or curiosity. Others are saved in mint sets or found years later in estate sales and old piggy banks. It's a reminder that the next life-changing discovery could be sitting quietly in your home right now. Let's step back in time for a moment. Picture the year 1989. George H.W. Bush had just become president. The Berlin Wall was on the verge of falling. And in the U.S., people were busy living their lives, unaware that some of the coins in their wallets were already destined for fame. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins, but only a few would slip through quality control in such a way that decades later, they'd be worth a small fortune. And here's where things get even more fascinating. Many collectors agree that the Roosevelt dime series doesn't always get the respect it deserves. It's seen as common, mundane, something you toss into a vending machine without thinking. But as seasoned collectors know, that's exactly where the opportunities hide, in plain sight. Now let's talk about what makes these coins so rare. The mint mark P indicates that the dime was struck in Philadelphia. Normally, Philadelphia coins don't command huge premiums unless they have unique features. But the 1989 P dimes that hit the jackpot have something extra. Flawless surfaces, sharp strikes, and sometimes dramatic minting errors that make experts double-take. Collectors are particularly drawn to full bands, varieties, dimes where the horizontal lines on the torch's bands are perfectly defined. Achieving this level of sharpness is incredibly rare, especially after decades of circulation. And if your coin happens to be one of those with pristine full bands, no wear, no scratches, and exceptional luster, you're already holding something valuable. But when that's combined with an ultra-high mint state grade and an error variety, that's when prices explode. Here's the crazy part. Many people who own these rare coins have no idea. They might have been sitting in jars, drawers, or passed down through generations. A few lucky individuals stumbled across theirs during routine coin roll hunts or while cleaning out old estates. Imagine finding a dime worth $841,000 in an old coffee can. It sounds absurd until it actually happens. The market for rare coins is booming. With inflation rising and traditional investments feeling unstable, more people are turning to tangible assets, gold, silver, and yes, collectible coins. In the last few years alone, prices for top-graded Roosevelt dimes have surged. The demand for mint errors and rare conditions is stronger than ever. And the 1989 P Roosevelt dime has become a star among them, capturing the attention of serious investors and casual collectors alike. So what exactly should you look for? First, flip that dime over and check for the P mint mark located just above the year. Next, study the surfaces carefully under good lighting or a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the date or lettering, particularly around the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Check the torch's horizontal bands. Are they fully defined? Is there a mirror-like shine that sets your coin apart from the rest? Every small detail matters, and here's a tip that most people overlook. Sometimes the rarest coins don't even look perfect. Certain striking errors, off-center designs, misaligned dies, and unusual metal compositions can make a coin even more valuable. Don't assume damage automatically means worthlessness. In numismatics, what looks like a flaw might actually be a feature. Let's break the tension for a moment. Imagine explaining to your spouse that you just sold a dime for nearly $1 million. Honey, I told you saving spare change would pay off. They'd probably laugh until the check cleared. But jokes aside, this happens more often than you'd believe. Coins once dismissed as pocket change have fetched life-changing sums at auctions, turning ordinary collectors into overnight success stories. And yet, for every person who finds that hidden treasure, there are countless others who let opportunity slip away. That's the fear that keeps collectors searching. The idea that a fortune could be sitting inches from you right now, unseen, unclaimed. The sense of urgency this creates isn't about greed, it's about awareness. Because the window for discovering pristine 1989 P dimes in circulation is closing fast. Each year, more are lost, damaged, or melted down, pushing the surviving examples even higher in value. Here's where things get personal. Think about what a discovery like that could mean for you. Maybe it's freedom from debt, an early retirement, or the ability to finally travel the world. Maybe it's simply the joy of knowing you uncovered something extraordinary, a secret piece of American history hiding in plain sight. This isn't just about coins. It's about possibility, about training your eyes to see what others overlook. Every collector starts somewhere, with curiosity, a magnifying glass, and a sense of wonder. Some start small and end up building million-dollar collections. Others make one incredible find and change their lives forever. Let's build some momentum here, because this is the part most people miss. The coin market isn't static. It's alive, shifting, and driven by emotion, history, and scarcity. When a coin like the 1989 P Roosevelt dime hits headlines for fetching $841,000, it sparks a chain reaction. Suddenly, collectors everywhere are combing through their change. Auction houses get flooded with submissions, and the value of all related coins, the ones even close in quality, start climbing too. So while you might not have the exact $1 million dime, you could still own one worth hundreds or even thousands. That's why education is everything. Knowing how to grade your coins, how to spot those subtle errors, and where to get them authenticated can make all the difference. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify your coin's authenticity and assign it a grade that directly influences its market value. Without certification, your coin is just a guess. With it, it's an asset. Now here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. What if I told you that experts believe there may still be a handful of undiscovered 1989 P Roosevelt dimes out there, possibly even ones that could surpass the $841,000 record? They're out there, tucked away in forgotten collections, buried in boxes of loose change, waiting for the right pair of eyes. Could one of those belong to you? That's the thrill of the hunt, the blend of fear and excitement that keeps this world alive. The fear of missing out on a fortune, and the excitement of knowing it's still possible. It's what turns ordinary people into treasure hunters. So tonight, when you get home, don't ignore that jar of coins sitting by the door. Pour them out. Spread them across the table. Grab a magnifying glass and start looking closely. Because that one small act, paying attention, could change everything. Remember this: history rewards the curious. And sometimes wealth hides in the smallest places. The 1989 P Roosevelt dime isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value, if only we take the time to look. If you've ever dreamed of discovering hidden wealth, of unlocking the secrets that others overlook, this is your call to action. Start searching, start learning, and who knows, you might just be holding your $1 million moment in the palm of your hand. Because in the end, it's not just about finding a valuable coin. It's about finding proof that incredible things can happen to anyone willing to look closer. The next great discovery could be yours. Don't let it slip away. It all started like many modern treasures do, accidentally. A man in Phoenix, Arizona, picked up a handful of change at a convenience store. He didn't think much of it until he noticed something peculiar about one of the dimes. It had no mint mark. Now, for most people, that's just a small missing letter. But for coin collectors, the absence of a mint mark can mean the difference between pocket change and a small fortune. And that was just the beginning of this incredible mystery. The Roosevelt dime has been an American icon since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the man who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. Every year since then, millions of these dimes have been minted. Usually you can find a tiny letter above the date, a P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. But the 2015 no mint mark dime, that's different. There was never supposed to be one. Officially, all 2015 Roosevelt dimes from Philadelphia should have had the P mint mark. So when one surfaced without it, the coin world went wild. Experts believe this rare coin resulted from a minting error, an event so rare it's almost like lightning striking twice. The die, the piece of metal used to stamp the coin's design, was likely missing the mint mark when the batch was produced. These errors are nearly impossible to detect during mass production, making them extremely scarce. Scarcity is what drives value in the coin world, and this one is the perfect storm of rarity, timing, and historical fascination. Before we go deeper, take a second and think. When was the last time you really looked at your change? Not just grabbed it from the counter, but really examined it? Because if this story tells us anything, it's that opportunity sometimes hides in plain sight, in the palm of your hand. Now, let's talk about what makes this particular dime so exceptional. Unlike ordinary coins, which are valued primarily by their metal content, rare coins are prized for their uniqueness. The 2015 no mint mark Roosevelt dime has captured attention because of its anomaly, its perfect condition, and the curiosity surrounding how it slipped through the U.S. Mint's meticulous quality control. Some experts have even called it the ghost dime, because of how mysteriously it appeared, and how few examples have ever been verified. The first verified specimen graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, fetched an eye-watering $228,000 in a private auction. That sale sent shockwaves across the numismatic community. Suddenly, collectors, investors, and everyday Americans began scouring through their spare change. Because who wouldn't? Imagine trading a dime for a down payment on your dream home. That's not just luck, it's history in your pocket. Now, before you rush to empty every coin jar in your house, let's talk about how to identify one of these elusive treasures. The 2015 no mint mark dime looks almost identical to a regular Roosevelt dime, but here's what you need to check. First, look closely at the area above the date. You should see a tiny letter P. If it's missing, your heart might start racing, but don't celebrate just yet. You'll need to confirm that it's truly from the Philadelphia Mint and not just a worn-out or damaged coin. Use a magnifying glass, good lighting, and compare it to another dime from the same year. If your coin is perfectly struck, in mint condition, and missing the mint mark, you might have just stumbled upon one of the rarest coins in modern U.S. history. Here's the thrilling part. Stories have emerged of people finding similar errors tucked away in their loose change, only to discover they were holding something worth tens of thousands. Imagine that moment. The shock, the disbelief, the excitement. That's the kind of story that fuels the dreams of collectors everywhere. And for those who recognize the signs, the reward can be life-changing. But let's pause for a moment. Because while this story is exciting, it also carries a powerful lesson about value, opportunity, and awareness. How many treasures have we overlooked because we didn't pay attention? How many chances have slipped by unnoticed? The 2015 Roosevelt dime is more than just a coin. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest worth. As the buzz around this coin grew, more and more people began to explore the hidden wealth in their coin collections. Online forums lit up. Auction houses received floods of inquiries. Coin dealers started offering free appraisals to the public. It became more than a curiosity, it became a movement. Americans, young and old, started rediscovering the stories behind their coins, learning that those old jars of pennies, nickels, and dimes might contain tiny pieces of history worth life-changing sums. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The value of these rare dimes continues to fluctuate as demand surges. Right now, the highest known sale is $228,000, but experts predict that as fewer examples surface, the value could climb even higher. The laws of supply and demand never lie. With so few known specimens and millions of people searching, the stakes couldn't be higher. In fact, some collectors are calling it the modern-day gold rush, except instead of digging through dirt, people are digging through drawers. Here's a question for you. What would you do if you found one? Would you sell it immediately and take the cash? Or would you hold on to it, watching its value climb as time goes on? That decision could define your financial future, and it's not one to take lightly. Because in the world of rare coins, timing is everything. The right sale at the right moment can mean the difference between thousands and millions. Of course, not every no-mint mark dime is worth a fortune. Some fakes have surfaced, cleverly altered coins with mint marks intentionally removed. But genuine specimens have certain traits that experts can easily authenticate, like die patterns, metal composition, and microscopic details invisible to the naked eye. That's why, if you suspect you have one, it's critical to have it professionally graded by a recognized authority like PCGS or NGC. Their certification is what turns a potential curiosity into a verified treasure. Let's inject a little humor. For a second, you might be laughing now, imagining yourself squinting at dimes under a lamp while your family asks if you've lost your mind. But hey, if one of those dimes ends up being worth six figures, who's laughing then? As fascinating as this coin is, its story reflects something bigger. The idea that value is everywhere, often disguised as something ordinary. It's a wake-up call to pay attention, to question the obvious, and to never underestimate what you have. Every great fortune starts with a discovery, and sometimes that discovery fits in your palm. By now, you might be feeling a mix of curiosity, excitement, and maybe even a little urgency. Because the truth is, rare coins like this don't stay hidden forever. The more people who know about them, the fewer chances there are to find one. So if you've ever thought about going through your old change, now is the time. The opportunity might literally be sitting in a jar waiting for you to notice. And let's be honest, we all dream of financial freedom. The ability to live comfortably, travel when we want, take care of our families, and never worry about bills again. But most people believe that wealth only comes through hard work or luck. What if it also comes from awareness? From knowing what to look for? From taking a closer look at what you already have? That's the hidden message behind this rare dime. It's not just a story about money. It's a story about paying attention to life's small details and how they can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Picture this. One day, you're sitting at your kitchen table sorting through coins you've collected over the years. You pick up a dime that feels just a little different. You look closer, your heart starts to race, and you realize you're holding one of the rarest coins in America. That moment could change everything. And yes, these discoveries still happen today. As of now, verified 2015 no-mint mark Roosevelt dimes remain among the most valuable modern errors ever produced. Collectors compete fiercely for them, and as time passes, as fewer are found, the price only climbs. Just think. 10 cents turned into $228,000. If that doesn't make you want to start searching, what will? Here's the thing. This isn't just about dimes. It's about rediscovering the hidden potential in the ordinary. Whether it's coins, collectibles, or even forgotten hobbies, treasures surround us every day. The key is knowing where to look and believing that you can find them. So before this video ends, take this as your sign. Go check your coins. Revisit that old collection from your grandparents. Search the change in your car, your drawers, even under the couch cushions. Because the next great discovery might already belong to you. You just haven't found it yet. Remember, opportunities don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they hide in plain sight, quietly waiting for the right eyes to notice. The 2015 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark is proof of that. Proof that even the smallest coin can hold the power to transform your life. And if you do find one, don't keep it a secret. Share your story, inspire others, and remind the world that fortune favors those who look closer. Because in a world where everyone is chasing big things, sometimes the smallest discovery makes the biggest difference. So the next time you hold a dime in your hand, take a moment. Look closely. Because what seems ordinary may just be extraordinary. Your life-changing coin might already be in your pocket.